Hello, everybody. How's it going this morning? Good. I'm glad to see all of these faces here, especially new faces. That was a huge wave that happened there. Well, I am Nura Saleh. As Brett mentioned, I'm with McCann Worldgroup, and today we're going to be talking about building a user-centric strategy or user-centric learning experiences with Margaritas, Instagram, and cake pops. So I am with McCann Worldgroup, which is an advertising agency. Hence, we get to be a little more fun with some of these things, and I appreciate that flexibility in our culture. What I'm going to be talking with you guys about today is first a little bit about us, a little bit about what we do, our challenges that we have, what we've chosen to do to try and overcome those, which is always a work in progress, right? And kind of the story of how we've launched. We just launched this year. So I'm going to talk about how we built our user-centric strategy and bringing in those experiences all for the learner. There's 3 different steps in this I'm going to go through. One is prioritizing the user, one of the most important foundations of UX, as many of you might be familiar with. Understanding the journey that they're going through, and connecting the experience. And then we're going to do a little activity at the end that you may have seen before, but hopefully it's new to a lot of you with user experience and empathy maps. So I'm going to dive right in a little bit about who we are. So McCann Worldgroup, I don't know, how many of you guys have heard of McCann, maybe? All right, if you watched Mad Men, we were the bad guys. Don't worry about that. So we're actually a network of advertising and marketing agencies. So McCann Worldgroup, we say we like kind of sit at the center of this rotating group of different brands. So a lot of employees actually have these brands as their personal identities. They know they work for Kraft, they do production, they work for MRM, they do customer relationship management. They work for McCann. They do brand strategy. But at McCann Worldgroup, what we're doing is we're connecting all of them, and we want to make sure they know that they're part of this larger network. There's deep expertise across the board, and we want to make sure they can tap into each other, especially as we move into a more digital integrated world, right? We want to bring our clients these integrated solutions that hit all of these different things. So my job and the job of my colleagues is to make sure they're all connected and they see themselves as part of one bigger network that they can tap into for knowledge, right? So our shared mission is helping brands play a meaningful role in people's lives. You may have seen some of the things we've done, like the Fearless Girl on Wall Street. And this all really comes down to one core, and it's about understanding our audience. We help our clients understand our audience, and because our employees are so focused on knowing that consumer-centric mindset, on understanding their journey and making sure they've got beautiful content for our brands to use, we need to do the same with our internal employees, right? We need to turn these tools we have inward, and we need to make sure we give them the quality and standard that they're used to. Otherwise, they won't pay attention. I think you guys all can probably resonate with that a little bit, right? It needs to be quick, it needs to be easy, it needs to be pretty, and it needs to be relevant. So we really wanted to focus on bringing them learning that hits all of those points. So for this story, I'm going to give you a little bit about my lens. I joined McCann Worldgroup about 5 years ago, and I joined my past life was kind of more product focused, like digital project manager sort of things and implementation. It's a long story, but I joined McCann Worldgroup to help build an in-person program that we called Play, Experience, Learn, or Pixel. We didn't and still don't have a learning management system. We didn't have a shared brand for learning. And a lot of people, when we were running these in-person programs, didn't even know we were an internal group. They thought, oh, what company are you with? Who did you come in from? So we knew we needed to make a couple changes. This was also an incredible learning journey for me and my colleagues. We got to go to these different offices, and we used subject matter experts to help partner and teach our employees so they're all speaking the same language, the same digital language, so we can work together and collaborate. And that's really our goal all around. So when we started this journey, within 3 years, we had trained 6,000 employees. Now, we have about 15,000 employees across the world. We're in about 120 countries. You can add to any of those depending on how you count things, but It's a really interesting thing trying to scale education and learning across such a wide berth, especially when they have all these different brands and expertise, and they're in Singapore, or they're in London, or they're in Chile. So we won a couple awards, which was great, but we knew we needed to do more to scale. You know, we can't keep running these in-person programs, and of course that's still very important, but we needed ways people could keep up with things, you know, do some quick reviews that they can refresh this memory, and we can onboard people a little more easily and more frequently, right? So from all the lessons learned in this, we decided to do two things. One, go with Degreed, right? We wanted a learning experience platform that people could connect with and can connect them with all of the people and knowledge around the organization. And two is we launched a new learning brand, which we called Spark. So Spark is our internal learning brand that we launched in Q1 of this year. It was February 26th. I will always remember that date. And we launched the Degreed platform with Spark, which we call Spark powered by Degreed. I also use the URL a lot, which is very helpful because it just sends people right in there. So what we did was we wanted to make sure we were reaching people. We wanted to focus on awareness. That was really our goal for this year. We want you to know that we're here, this knowledge is available, these tools are available, and you know where to go when you're ready for it. So we started with a happy hour and margaritas. So in our New York office, we have a reoccurring event. Every Thursday, we've got wine and beer, and it's a nice little way to connect people across the different agencies that sit in that headquarter office. So what we did was we took advantage of that moment. We sponsored it by Spark, and we threw all these fun things at people. We had glow sticks, we had candy, we had margaritas, and we did just a little talk, like 2 minutes, saying, hey, this is a new learning brand. It's a new learning resource for you. Stop by tomorrow to learn more. Because we know they're not really learning at that moment, right? They just want to be aware of it. So you'll see in the background there's a slide we have up that's join the launch event tomorrow. We had a room set out where people could go and join and learn more. Like I said, it's just trying to get people's energy going, let them know something exciting was happening. And although we did this in the New York office, I want to make it very clear, we know that that's not everyone, right? Our New York office is a small percentage of our huge global population. So we made sure to create launch kits so that we can not only share this idea, but also share our lessons learned with our offices around the world. So all of them could launch whenever was right for them over the course of the next month. So we also, of course, when we were running at this event, we started with desk drops on everyone's desk. So when they came in the morning, they saw, okay, this event is going on. They got the reminder if they weren't there at happy hour the night before. And then we partnered with an internal social team to really get their attention. Some things we knew they would love. Everyone always wants more notebooks. And then we've got them branded so it reminds them that this resource is available to them, right? Gets them a little excited. Cupcakes, who doesn't love free food, especially when it's bright and colorful and, again, on brand. We scoured Amazon for anything that looked like our logo, right? Again, trying to get those fun lights, those glow sticks, trying to get people's attention. So if you don't recognize this, it's an Instagram story. We used this to help get the word out with our local office because they already had followers that we knew would be interested in this. Of course, we also had the posters, the desk drops, email announcements, things like that. So what this did was it led people to an experience we had to help them dive in and really get to know this technology and this new brand in a way that they could walk through. It was inspired by Instagram-style kind of pop-ups that you may have seen places. And we had 3 different phases. We told people to come in and activate their profiles. So over here, we've got IT. We've got Steve from Degreed as well. You know, we had people there to support and learn and teach people about what this tool was and get them to log in and see it for themselves. We had, the next step was personalizing. Make it yours, right? Make sure you know that this is about you. We talked about the skills they can be adding as they go forward, the importance of that, and we let them take pictures, encourage them to take them with their friends, but also take one for yourself so you can update your profile picture. More fun things. Everyone loves free stuff. We had bags, we had candy, we had notebooks, we had cookies, a bunch of fun things that people could just go and explore. And then, of course, building your skills and learning. So behind what you can't see is where I was sitting, which was to answer questions about the learning resources that were available, what kind of content was on there, and how they can use it in their day-to-day lives. We also took names of experts that were interested in sharing their knowledge so that we can reach out to them later and have further discussions about how they can use the platform. So, as you can see, I think people were excited. We had a fun time, and like I said, we had kits to share these kinds of lessons and our experience that we built with the other offices so they could run their own. So that was kind of our journey from 5 years ago to when we launched the platform. What I'm going to talk about now is a little more about first how we got there, what kinds of things we learned, and the lessons we had that we used to really help launch in a way that we thought would resonate with our audience. And then also some other things we did to help build it into their day-to-day lives and continue to grow that engagement and that excitement about the platform and understanding that it's there for them, right? So first, we're going to start with prioritizing the user. What does that mean? So this comes down to that core concept I talked about before, UX, or user experience. It's a little preview from the app we just built for Pixel. Remember that in-person program I told you about? It's now an app. So it's an exciting way. We actually built it, so it's got these little cards to help really get short content to people as quickly as possible. So I took some lessons from this I wanted to share with you guys to make sure, again, we're speaking the same language about what user experience is. So good UX, one of the core concepts is it reduces friction. Doesn't make you work, doesn't make you think, doesn't waste your time. Just get me to what I want as quickly as possible. We see this in things we use every day as consumers, right? We use Netflix, we use Google, we use the maps. Just get me to where I want to go. Give me that 45 minutes or 25 instead of the 2-hour 45 train ride, right? So how do we get better at UX? It's about user-centered design, making sure we're thinking about the user and understanding their needs and delivering on that. And that's a process framework based on the science of human behavior, right? That's the first place we need to start. Who are our learners? What do they do as human beings, as employees, as learners? How do they grow, and how can we help support them through that process? What are their interactions? What are their motivations? All of that. So to get to know our users better, we didn't just kind of say, oh, we know them. It's no problem. We knew we needed to really dive in a little more and use all the resources at our disposal to get a full picture. Here are some of the things we did. We conducted external research, which I'm sure all of you guys have done as well with your different partners or resources you have, looking at the studies that are already out there about users and the modern learner. We launched an engagement survey. That was something new for us as well. We put it out there, we asked a bunch of questions, and we learned a lot about what our users really needed and what kinds of things they wanted to grow more. We analyzed skill data. We didn't have an existing database of skills. Wish we had, would have made things a lot easier. But what we did was we actually looked at our job descriptions that were out there, because when people are searching for employees to bring in, they talk about all of these different things they want. And we wanted to look at ways we don't just search externally, but we look internally and we really reskill our employees and we upskill the ones we have to make sure they're also fitting those roles. And then we met with over 40 stakeholders. I got tired of counting, I'll be honest with you. I think it's upwards of 60. But it was over the course of that year, really preparing for our launch, that we met with people who were subject matter experts on the ground in front of clients who are doing this every day. We met with leaders from regions, from brands, from the global center. All of these different levels to really take in this information and learn about our users. Here's some key things we learned that will probably sound familiar to some of you guys. First is we knew we needed to get more information out about our McCann Worldgroup tools that were available to people, our processes we had been working to create, the methods we approach clients with our integrated solutions, and the way we work together across the network. That was huge for us. But then these are two things that hopefully you guys all know as well, right? Users are time limited. They have an average of about 5 minutes a day to learn. Most users won't watch a video more than 4 minutes. There's a lot of great stuff out there that's really important for us to understand what people want and what they need. They're collaborative. This is basic human nature, right? When you think of you want to know something, your standard is probably to go to the person next to you or an expert you know around the area that's in your immediate vicinity. We knew we wanted to do that and provide that for people, but also remind them that their network is so much larger than just who sits in their office, right? It could be that same expert who's doing that same kind of project across the world, who might be in a different brand and I would have never heard of. So we wanted to make sure we connect them and give them opportunities to find and learn from each other. And then, of course, we needed to make sure content was on demand. It was available for them when they wanted, hence the app. And then relevant. Degree has a number of amazing, great resources, and the personalization and AI helps bring it to them. But we also knew when we were creating content, we needed to focus on things that our people needed based off of our internal information. So when we were creating content, that was our big focus. It's how do we teach them how to do things the McCann Worldgroup way, not just in basic digital, because that's already out there. Other people are creating that, so we should leverage that and focus our creation on things that we couldn't curate. So that's how we made sure we had a good lay of the land and we understood who our user was. So we could get that basic. And then we wanted to dive in and understand the journey a little more. So look at not only who they are, but where they are. What are they doing? So we looked at our HR kind of functions is one way to put it. But really it's about the different moments that people have within their career journey. What are these different moments that that already exist, where they're thinking about their skills, they're thinking about their future, they're thinking about learning, and it's already organically part of that process. We looked at a few huge things like onboarding. Every employee hits that at some point, right? It's how we bring them into the organization and how we teach them about how we work and what we have, so that's a big one. And performance coaching as well. I'll talk a little more about that later and how we incorporated Spark powered by Degreed into that process. Really, it's about understanding the user and how they're taking their journey to knowledge, right? We also built out our network. So I sit with a team of about 4 people who work in mostly New York. And we all work together to help support our global infrastructure. But we have regional learning directors, we have learning directors in different agencies and brands that we work with on a regular basis. We knew we needed to branch out further. So we also, before the launch of Degreed, we started expanding our community to local learning ambassadors. So this isn't a full-time role. It's people who are passionate about learning or maybe in an HR function where they already take this on for their office. This lets us provide resources and opportunities like webinars and newsletters for our global audience and help connect them. It also helps us get feedback from the local offices. A lot of the time when we're sitting in these different places, we don't know what's really going on in the ground in this 20-person office in this one place. So it was important for us to have those feedback loops so we could really reach out and understand those needs. I know it's not pretty, but this was a map I made. Based off of all the different interviews and skill data we did, I needed to just draw it out and think about what do we need to connect on? What are all these different pieces and how do they come together with these big ideas and these big knowledge groups? People who can share information across the board, no matter what role they're in. So we used that information, and we came up with our group strategy. So over here, you'll see that's the right-hand side of our Spark powered by Degreed platform. And our groups are really focused on knowledge and information that is shared across the board. So we focused on industries like the automotive industry, health and wellness, and then key things like data privacy and data analytics that we knew were focuses for people to learn more about as we go through and learn as a global organization. So we know the user as much as possible, right? We're still always learning. We're understanding their experience and thinking about the journey that they're going on. And then the third step is really connecting the two. How do we make sure We know what these people need in these key moments that they're going through. So here's a couple ways we connected the experience. Earlier, I mentioned the different moments that employees have through their journey and the types of things we know that they're going to need, and they're organically learning and building skills in those moments that already exist. So we built in some key pathways around our performance coaching process. Our performance coaching process includes reviews and goal setting and check-ins throughout the year. So when people are setting their goals, we put together this pathway to focus on some of the learning that they can have around that, the neuroscience, like why are we setting goals? Why does it really matter? What does it do for us? And then the tools that they have. We've got a separate performance coaching platform that lives elsewhere. A lot of you guys probably have that, right? Our technology is an ecosystem that we're trying to connect and help people move back and forth throughout that. So we put links everywhere we could think of. In this, there are links that go to the performance coaching platform that say, hey, go here to do this. Here's where you learn more information about it. These are some pieces of information. Here's a task where you should use this platform to build skills. Here's how. And then in our performance coaching platform, we have a little bar in the right-hand side that also has links to build your goal-setting skills. Here's the tip sheet, those sorts of things. So we're leading them from each platform to the other, so they can easily go back and forth and feel it as one, hopefully seamless journey. We also launched the Pixel app that I was talking about earlier. And this is one of the big reasons we invested in Degreed. We knew we wanted to create our own tools, and we wanted to be able to plug into this bigger idea, this bigger Spark kind of platform. So we linked each of our units, which are a series of cards like this, and some pathways that include some of this information in it. So we'll have a video, we'll have a deck, we'll have an article, and we'll have a unit of this app as well. So people can flip through and learn more about our internal tools and our process. There we go. So the other thing about connecting the experience, we wanted to make sure they had on-demand relevant content right there from whichever platform they're in. By the way, we also tied the data to it. So even if you're in the Pixel On Demand app separately, you're getting credit for those units you're doing automatically in Spark powered by Degreed, right? No matter where you're learning, we recognize that it's important, and we bring that back into one place. So those are kind of the more digital ones, but I wanted to highlight some more in-person kind of experiences as well. Here are cake pops. So again, we had places people could go, like that experience I talked about during our launch, but it was about continued awareness, making sure people knew what was out there. So we actually took a cart out one time with some cookie dough, and we rolled it around the office, went floor by floor, and announced this app that was available. We reminded them of the Degreed app as well, and the different tools and how they could use them to continue their knowledge and skill building. We also made sure that for these different events that we do, even learning events, where we have people come in and learn in a classroom kind of setting, that we brought some things that got them excited and reminded them of these other tools available. So on-brand cake pops that were in the shape of ice cream. It was very exciting and delicious. Stress balls as well for Spark when you're thinking, all right, I got to get ready for this meeting. I'm kind of nervous, but I know I've got it here for me. And then just colorful candy. Everyone loves a little sugar boost, right? So these are all of these things we tried to do to bring in that user-centered experience and connect with our people. Let them know this was here, raise that awareness. So that's kind of my story. I'd love to bring you guys through a little bit of what we use in our in-person user experience session. One of these activities we do to help introduce our employees to the concept of user experience. And again, make sure we're all speaking the same language, right? So, our user experience activity. First, a little bit of visualization and thinking about your own experiences. I want you to put on your user cap. Think about how you go through the world and what kinds of things you've experienced. This can be an online or offline session, but I want you to turn to your table, someone next to you, and share a favorite product or service experience you've had. I'm going to start us off because I know it's a little strange to think about, but I want you to think about what you loved about it and why. So I recently moved apartments. I'm in New York, so moving actual furniture is more expensive than it's worth. So I was buying a new coffee table. I had been browsing things on Instagram, and this company, Inside Weather, popped up because Instagram knows what I need, personalization. That data on the back end is really important, right? So I checked it out, and I ended up buying a table. I was excited about it, but I kind of forgot. You know, a week or two later, I'm like, whatever. I get an email that pops up on a Tuesday afternoon. It's like 3 p.m., and it was titled, "We've got an excuse for you to leave work early." I was like, what is this? And I click on it, and it's like, congratulations, your table has arrived. Get out of there. Go grab it on your porch. And I just thought that was such a cute moment. It's like, oh, you know me. I'm at work. I'm not leaving here till at least 6. But it's nice to think about. And it's a fun just kind of moment, a little step they could take in the messaging that understood me and my situation that helped just increase that experience exponentially, right? So I want you guys to take just a couple minutes, let's say 2. No, let's say 5, because there's plenty of you. We've got a little extra time. I'm talking fast. So go ahead and share an experience you had with your table. Then I'll call us all back together. So good UX, like we talked about at the beginning, it reduces friction, right? This is the reminder, get me to what I want as fast as possible. Don't make me think. Don't waste my time. Don't put junk in my way. Just get me to what I need. Good UX also considers the broader context. This is something I think is really easy to forget. All of this stuff I think we instinctually know, but it's really important to take that step back, go through this process, and make sure we really are thinking about the user and their broader context. When the iPhone came out, it was a big deal that it wasn't just the device itself, right? It was the experience, that unboxing process. It starts before you think, and it never really ends, right? This experience is an overall journey for the consumer or the user or the learner. So now there's YouTube unboxing videos everywhere that actually talks about this process. These things are important. So we're going to go back and consider the learner experience. And this is where we're going to dive into these empathy maps that you guys can take with you after as well. So I'm going to give you a scenario. You just joined your organization. It is day 1 for you. You don't know any of those things you know, and you're starting off, and you're really not sure what to do. It's day 1, your manager is tied up in meetings. They really wish they could be there to meet with you first, but they're not. You don't get time with them till 3 p.m. You get access to Degreed at your organization. You start exploring, you start learning. Go ahead and put yourself in that situation. Think about the questions you might have, the nervousness, the excitement, what you want to know about. And then I want you to take out this empathy map. They're in the middle of the table. Everyone should be able to grab one. There are pens in the back if you don't have one as well. And we're going to go through this exercise where I want you guys to, again, put yourself in this situation, put on your user, your learner hat, and think about what you might be thinking and feeling and doing as you're in this moment. So I want you to take just 2 minutes to write this down. There's no wrong answers. Just jot down a couple of things in each section that you're thinking about. All right, guys, you can keep writing. I'm going to talk through this a little because I know we're running out of time here, but I want you to take this empathy map with you. I want you to think about the different opportunities that you might see on here and chat with your colleagues about it as well as we are switching rooms. So think about what are those moments of friction that someone might be thinking about in these moments? What are the things that you can help them break through? Consider how you might change or build your experience by removing barriers, by providing resources to your employees, by maybe sending them communication with a little more context, or rewarding the behaviors that you know are going to help them become better employees and grow their skills and develop. So go ahead and take a picture of that, whatever you need. Keep writing these down and chat with your teams about the process. But thank you, everybody. I appreciate you coming to this session today. Thanks. Come find me if you have questions.